normal. Normal, 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 normal. Have you ever repeated a word until it loses its meaning? I just loved doing this as a kid and always thought, wow, this word sounds so weird if I don't think about what it means. Well, with time, that led me to develop a new perspective and realize that all words are meaningless in this way. They're just a bunch of nonsense sounds that we all agree to believe have some meaning. And I've come to the conclusion that by meaning, we can divide words into two groups. Words that address tangible things and words that address intangible things that we humans made up. But I'm not talking about tree versus car. Sure, humans created cars, but you can still touch them. I mean abstract idea words like good, bad, truth, sin, kindness, wisdom, beauty. Let's focus on the word beautiful for a moment. Can you explain what it means? You might say, oh, it's just something that looks nice. Then what does nice mean? Really, try to explain it without using any other words that describe things that don't naturally exist. As you can see, we can't really do that because beauty is not objective. It literally doesn't exist. You could call anything beautiful. And a lot of words we use every day are abstract language, which classifies different ideas and situations. But those words are not objective. You cannot touch or taste or smell them. So this made me wonder, why do humans have these abstract words in our languages? Other animals can communicate too, but surely their communication is centered around stuff that physically exists. As far as we know, they don't talk about things that aren't there or did not happen, cannot tell stories and myths, don't have religion. Abstract words set human language apart. Humans use these words to develop morality and culture, make it easier to raise kids, like once upon a time there was this really bad kid who didn't want to share his toys with others. Those stories helped us establish mutual beliefs and culture. They help us bond with others. The ability to create and use abstract language is part of what makes us human. And with the ability to express abstractions comes great power to shape our thinking. And different cultures and languages do this in different ways. When I was learning German, for example, I stumbled upon quite a few words which couldn't directly be translated into English or Russian simply because they didn't exist in those languages. Kummerspeck, directly translated as grief bacon, is the weight gained from overeating due to unhappiness, grief, or another emotional state. Sometimes I envy Germans because they have a word, an excuse for gaining a few extra kilos when you feel sad. Then there's Schadenfreude, joy from someone else's misfortune. This word also exists in my native language, Russian, zloradstvo, but not in English. Does this mean that English speakers don't take pleasure in someone else's suffering or don't gain weight when they grieve? Probably not. But the fact that German has names for these abstract ideas destigmatizes such situations. Like, it's just Kummerspeck. Whereas in English, perhaps you'd feel more ashamed of it. In German, we accept it, we name it. It's normal. And speaking of normal, do you know how to reply to how are you in Russian? It's нормально, literally normal. Like, okay, I'm not dying. So you might understand why learning English as a second language was a bit of a mental shock for me. I was always taught that the correct response to how are you was, I'm fine, thank you, and you? Still, in Russian, I can be doing okay, I can be doing normal, but when asked that question in English, I almost feel pressure to act like I'm fine, even if I'm really not. This use of abstract language places expectations on us that we don't realize are there unless we think about it for too long or give a TED talk on this idea. Another way expectations associated with language affect me is in my student life. For me, it always was, and probably still is, about trying to become the best student. And here we go again, more vague abstract words, good, better, best. The higher the grades I get, the higher my expectations become. And sometimes my expectations rise to the point where best new normal. And that can be quite unhealthy, because whenever I get a grade that's lower than the best, / my new normal, I get really upset. So part of the problem here was this collision of the words best and normal. The word normal itself is very complicated and probably one of my least favorite words, because every community and every single person sets their own normal based on their background and values. And I've noticed that this normal can either be defined as close to average, or it can be a made-up ideal, like with my grades. Okay, so we say that, or at least my physics books in the Russian language say that the normal condition of water is liquid. And I believe that's fair because it is most commonly found in that form. At the same time, we can't call ice or steam not normal. We understand that they're in a different form because of a different environment, different temperature. So that is an example of when average is the norm. But for some reason, we don't allow average to be the norm when it comes to ourselves. And we don't allow average to be the norm when it comes to other people. And this is problematic because societies where a made-up ideal is the standard tend to be more toxic and demanding. I'm into K-pop, and that's exactly where I first saw this potential toxicity. Coming back to the word beauty, visuals are a huge part of K-pop because it attracts a lot of attention. So the artists are required to be pretty and perfect in every way. Otherwise, they won't make it in this harsh industry. K-pop idols get massive social media hate for every little detail in their appearance that doesn't meet the normal expectation, often pushing them to plastic surgery, extreme diets, or eating disorders. This certainly happens in other parts of society as well. Anyone who deals in celebrity and fame experiences this. In reality, of course, all these people cannot match the ideal. Otherwise, we'd all just look the same. But still, those expectations exist. Everyone in these industries is forced to meet a norm that is unachievable. And it gets worse. This industry standard trickles into everyday life, where everyone's normal starts to lean toward perfection. We've all heard the social media examples where people only post the good stuff, like, hey everyone, I'm on the beach in Hawaii, scroll, partying with my friends every night, scroll, how I got an A+ on a test without studying, aggressive scroll, and then everyone feels pressured to only have this good stuff in their lives. No wonder there's so much stress and anxiety. I think we'd be a much happier and healthier society if the actual average was normal, and normal was the actual average. So how can we achieve this? Honestly, I don't know. But now that you've heard me talk, hopefully you'll be more aware of the impact abstract language has in our lives. After leaving this room today, I hope you will be able to recognize more often how relevant all of this is in your everyday life. And I hope you will be more critical toward abstract words and keep in mind that none of them have a clear set definition that everybody agrees on. I hope you will now be able to escape the poisonous expectations that language lays on us, that you will no longer be fooled by these nonsense sounds. And I hope that from now on, you will be less harsh on yourself and others, so that we can all just be normal. Thank you.